Nintendo just made a huge mistake with Mario Kart World. If you've been keeping up with the game at all, then you probably know the biggest debate with the gameplay is the intermission tracks in the game. On these intermission tracks, you're forced to drive in a mostly straight line from one location on the world map to another. This of course was necessary for Knockout Tour to exist. It's understandable to have to play them there, but these are, in my opinion and many others, extremely limited and not nearly as enjoyable as the traditional style courses in the game, especially now that the main new mechanics with wall riding and rail shortcuts are only really viable on those traditional tracks. So before, when queuing up online, there was a way to avoid the intermission tracks by selecting random. And if you played online, you probably noticed that about 80% of players that are aware of this always select random. Well, Nintendo decided to patch this. So now when you select random, there's a large chance you'll now be queued up for those same intermission tracks instead of the proper courses. My guess is that Nintendo noticed the amount of players only always selecting random, aka the regular courses, and they wanted to force players to experience all of the tracks in the game, especially with a lot of casual players complaining about how high the skill ceiling is in the game for the regular tracks, with people able to practice the most insane, sweatiest shortcuts in time trial and take it online. But this is not a good idea. It'll likely hurt the enjoyment of the game's online experience even more. Everything to do with this and the lack of content in battle mode has personally hindered my own enjoyment of Mario Kart World quite a lot. I think the best way to fix this would be to add in more settings for your search for online races, so that way players can be queued up at least more often for the kind of races they actually want to play, instead of it all being mixed together. If you want to hear more about this from an actual professional Mario Kart player, check out Shortcat's latest video. He came up with some pretty good suggestions as well, with some good insight into the current state of Mario Kart World and how this update really affects things moving forward, because